Welcome! Today we're diving into the hidden blueprints of production. From the beautiful handcrafted detail you'd find in an artisan's workshop, all the way to the incredible efficiency of a modern assembly line, and even the smart tech that's trying to give us the best of both worlds. We're going to unpack the core methods businesses use to create pretty much everything around us.
That's a really great question, right? They're both products, sure, but the journey they take from just a pile of raw materials to the finished thing, well, it's completely different. And that journey, the how of their creation, that's what defines everything, their cost, their quality, and their value. That's exactly what we're digging into.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick off with what you'll get out of this, then jump right into the old-school craft-based methods. After that, we'll see how that compares to the high-volume production that literally built the modern world. Then we'll explore the new hybrid models, trying to get the best of both. And finally, we'll look at how businesses actually make these choices and wrap it all up.
Okay, so let's get right to it. What are you going to walk away with after this explainer?
By the time we're done, you're not just going to know some definitions. Nope, you'll actually be able to weigh the pros and cons of each production method, and, this is the important part, you'll get the strategic why behind a company's decision to go one way or another.
Let's start our journey at the really personal end of the spectrum. This is the world of the artisan, the specialist, where everything is unique and tailored.
First up is job production, and this is all about the one-off. Think of a custom-tailored suit, a piece of bespoke furniture, or even a specialized construction project, like a one-of-a-kind bridge. It's the art of creating a single, unique item. This takes highly skilled craftspeople and a ton of back and forth with the client, because you're making something that's never been made before, and honestly probably never will be again.
Okay, so how do you scale up from a total one-off? Well, that brings us to batch production. The big idea here is grouping identical products together, and the defining feature, the thing you have to remember, is that the entire batch finishes one step before the whole group moves on to the next one. It's a very stop-start, stage-by-stage process.
The classic baker analogy makes this crystal clear. A baker doesn't just mix, shape, prove, and bake one roll at a time. Of course not. They mix a giant batch of dough for, say, 100 rolls. That's stage 1. Then, they shape all 100 of those rolls, stage 2. The whole group proves together, and then the entire batch goes into the oven. No single roll gets to jump ahead until the whole group is ready to move.
Now, looking at them side by side, you can really see the trade-off. With job production, you get the ultimate flexibility for that one unique item, but man, the cost per unit is super high. Batch production brings in some efficiency by making things in groups, and that lowers the unit cost a bit. But you lose that one-of-a-kind feel. You also start to see the required skills shift from that all-around artisan to a more specialized worker.
All right, let's totally flip the script. We're leaving the small workshop behind and heading into the world of the giant factory, where scale and speed are everything. This right here, this is the engine that powered the 20th century. Mass and flow production is all about making huge quantities of standardized stuff. Think cars, TVs, you name it. The key concept is continuous movement. An item just flows from one workstation to the next without ever stopping. No waiting, no bottlenecks. It's that classic assembly line, just perfected for maximum efficiency.
But here's the deal. It comes with a massive trade-off. The advantages are incredible. You get extremely low costs per item, huge economies of scale, and crazy high productivity. This is what makes all our consumer goods so affordable. But the downsides? They're severe. These systems are super inflexible. You invest millions, maybe billions, in equipment designed to do just one thing. If customer tastes suddenly change, you can't just pivot. You're left with a very, very expensive factory that might be obsolete.
So for decades, it really felt like you had to make a choice. Be flexible and expensive, or be efficient and rigid. But then, technology started to change the game, and that led to the rise of a pretty cool modern hybrid.
And this is basically the holy grail of modern manufacturing. Mass customization is all about trying to give customers the personalization you get with job production, but with the low costs and speed of mass production. It's the dream, right? Getting exactly what you want without that custom-made price tag.
So how is this even possible? Well, it's really a combination of a few key technologies working together. You've got CAD, which lets designers easily create digital parts that can be changed. Then CAM takes a customer's specific order and basically tells flexible factory robots what to do. And more, you have 3D printing, which can create unique parts on demand without needing a whole new expensive set of tools for every little variation.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. It has a huge impact. Let's take the German chocolate company Choc-Tea. They started letting customers design their own chocolate bars online with over 100 different ingredients. The result? They boosted their online sales by a staggering 30%. That's the power of giving people exactly what they want, but doing it efficiently.
Okay, so we've seen the four main methods, but how does a business actually pick one? Let's open up the strategic playbook and see how they make this critical decision. Well, it really boils down to answering four key questions. First, how big is your market? A tiny, niche market probably points you towards job production, while a huge, stable market just screams for flow. Second, how much cash do you have to invest? A flow line costs a fortune. A startup is going to be forced into job or batch. Third, what resources do you even have available? Do you have access to skilled artisans or just a big, empty piece of land? And finally, and this is a big one, what do your customers actually want?
But here's the real secret. The smartest, most successful companies, they rarely just pick one method and stick to it. They use a hybrid model. They treat these methods like a toolbox and just pick the right tool for the right part of the job.
A high-end restaurant is the perfect example of this hybrid model in action. Think about it. They use flow production for the absolute basics they always need, like chopped vegetables or cooked rice. They use batch production to make big pots of complex sauces and stocks before dinner service even starts. And then, when you order that steak cooked medium rare, that is pure job production, a unique item cooked exactly to your specific order. You've got flow, batch, and job all working together perfectly under one roof.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil this all down to the core takeaway. What's the one big idea you need to remember?
At the end of the day, every production decision is a balancing act. It's a tug of war between two big ideas. On one side, you've got efficiency and standardization, using mass and flow to drive down costs. On the other side, you've got flexibility and customization, using job and batch to meet unique customer needs. The real genius is knowing where your business needs to be on that spectrum and how to blend these methods to get there.
And in today's world, there's another really important factor to consider: sustainability. You might think these huge factories are automatically bad for the planet, but it's just not that simple. A state-of-the-art, super efficient factory, like the Cytec Sustainable Denim Plant in Vietnam, can be designed to radically cut down on water, waste, and energy. That can actually make it way greener than dozens of smaller, less efficient operations.
So, let's end with a big question for the future. As technologies like 3D printing get faster, cheaper, and better, could the giant centralized factory become a thing of the past? I mean, could it be replaced by a whole network of small, local manufacturing hubs that create whatever you need on demand, maybe even right in your own neighborhood? The future of how we make things might be a lot closer to home than we think.